Welcome to If I Did It, a show where we analyze and solve PR kerfuffles from the MMA world and beyond. I'm your host, Alexi Old, and joining us as always is Kid Native Bloody Elbow and Eugene S. Robinson of Aussie.com and author of Fight Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Ass Kicking, but we're afraid you get your ass kicked for asking.
Nobody's interrupting? What's going on?
I know, wow.
The guys complaining about me interrupting. Total radio fucking silence.
Now he's on strike. You showed him, Eugene.
It's Fargo all over again. I got it. I could be quiet.
Well done.
You don't need to tell me to shut up. You don't have to tell me more than once to be quiet. I'm perfectly capable of being quiet. I don't have to talk over everybody.
And this is how we end up in the wood chipper, Eugene.
I just think it's funny, Eugene, like when you, on Knuckle Up, when you addressed it, and, because he had addressed it as well, and the assumption was he was your father instead of my father. Because if you notice, the thing that he wrote was, the first complaint was, why do you keep on interrupting Alexi? Right?
He could be your father, right.
Well, I mean, that wouldn't be my father, because my father interrupts me all the time, but, that's where I get it from. But I just thought it was funny in the sense of, like, it sounded like it'd be more like initially somebody that's in my camp as opposed to,
Well, that's, because have a narcissistic personality disorder, so that's how that works. But he threw me off the scent with the use of Gene, which I despise. But it was great. Anyway,
so Eugene, you're Dada 5000.
Oh man.
After weeks of speculation, you confirmed rumors that your fight with Kimbo Slice in Houston was literally a Texas death match. In an Instagram post, you wrote, quote, "Yes, I did have kidney failure during the fight. I also had 2 heart attacks, which I did code, aka died, during the fight. Glory to the Most High, which saw favor in me to bring me back. I will make a full recovery, and we'll be back bigger, faster, stronger than ever before. That much you can count on," end quote. But then you deleted the post. What PR moves inspired you to do so?
The heavy-duty, thick and smoky mist that was enveloping you as you trundle headlong into the Lost Battalion, because, I can see Scott Coker, friend of Knuckle Up. I've seen him, had the guy on the show before. I can see him sitting around right now going like this. Damn it, You can't, you think that's a good look? Hey, I died in the cage twice, man. I narrowly averted a PR disaster to end all PR disasters. By what? By the fates of my invisible friend who looks over me. Nah, man, you're fucking done. There's no multicolored mohawk, black cat. There's no fucking purchase. You will not be seeing him again. Unless he comes back a mere slip of a man at 185 and is doing, Jenny Craig commercials. He's not fucking coming back. He is alive. Who's going to bond that guy? Who's going to bond that guy? If it was a movie, the movie would be shut down. That guy's not coming back.
What do you think, Nate? What was inspiration?
Yeah, I mean, it's presumable that somebody at Viacom or Coker called him and said, hey, take this down. But what leverage do they have over the guy? Because it's obvious he's not fighting again. Does they have any paydays for him down the road? So maybe he thought better of it on his own. Maybe he got his arm twisted. But what do they have to twist it with? Maybe they offered him some money if he'd shut up. I mean, I don't know.
Or maybe his doctor said, you are not medically able to make that determination. You could tell people whatever kind of bullshit you want, but I'm not going to support it if somebody does due diligence and comes to me and is trying to do some real reporting and asks me about it.
Entirely possible. And the story is very apropos because we just had a tragic death in Ireland after a fight Saturday night in a big arena in Dublin. Teammate of Conor McGregor's, Charlie Ward, fought a guy named João Cavallo and killed him after TKO. He didn't die in the ring, but he died. He was critically injured, immediately taken to the hospital, and passed away Monday night. So tragic situation, and it's going to be a big setback for MMA in Ireland, where MMA has blown up. And Ireland was initially pretty resistant to the sports. Catholic country, a lot of laws and moral strictures there, and it became a big deal when Conor McGregor became so successful in the UFC in the U.S. Now they're having their first death in the cage in a pretty high-profile match. So this is nothing to kid around with, and this is the kind of stuff you want to talk about sport killing. Deaths in the cage, especially in a televised fight, total disaster for the.
So what do you think the difference is then between that and boxing? Because, for instance, I saw the Boo Boo Mancini fight back in the day with Kim, where he literally died in the ring on television. You saw his legs
Well,
twitching
you also
and
didn't see
everything.
primetime boxing again on network television for decades after
Yeah.
that. So that was a big motivator for boxing moving on to HBO and pay-per-view. And so this sport could be heading back that direction if it doesn't get together. But then again, you've got NFL study came out today saying 40% of NFL players have brain damage. So,
Right.
I think that the tide is moving away from violent head concussion dependent sports. So, Dada needs to keep his mouth shut for the good of everybody.
Well,
Who's
also let's
that's the
quote
sport.
let's quote RoboCop here, right? They can fix anything. The more money you have to fix things, the more things you can fix. MMA is in a very different position than fucking than football, who can sweep quite a lot under the carpet, under the AstroTurf. I mean, there've been guys paralyzed from the neck down who play hockey. Don't hear much about that either. I mean, they can always get this shadow of confusion where they say the objective of hockey is not to, hurt your opponent, but to get the little black thing in the little black cage. Yeah, okay, whatever, man. Guys are getting paralyzed from the neck down, but this is why one of the first things you do is hire a PR agency, not just for an event, on permanent retainer. Permanent retainer. How long I've been doing music since 1980. I finally realized that larger bands have a 24-hour-day PR person, not just when they have a record out. Well, they can afford that, first of all, but otherwise, man, opportunities just crawl your way. They don't come running your way. So, or alternatively, you can't beat back fucking trouble quite as quickly and effectively. But I hadn't heard about the death in the cage, and that's super fucking unfortunate. Before that, as far as I knew, it was Doug Dedge in the Ukraine. Then you could go, well, shit, that's Ukraine. But this was this hit.
This is the fifth death in a sanctioned fight, to my knowledge. Doug Dedge was in an unsanctioned fight. According to Wikipedia, he was the second death. They're counting a fight from 1981 in Mexico as the first MMA death, and that was a completely unsanctioned thing. 1981.
I mean, Frank Mir said it best. It's a dangerous. We're big guys. It's a dangerous sport.
Yeah.
Skiing is dangerous too, but it just doesn't have the same.
Ask Sonny Bono, but you can't.
You can't.
Jeez. But also, I was reading to this New York Times article that they had about the NFL learning what they can learn from the WWE in wake of WrestleMania, and in wake of declining television, the importance of television, having your own channel and training your viewers and fans to go there where you don't have to deal with all kinds of things. So I don't know if this kind of thing, this kind of incident, will bring more value to the UFC's Fight Pass and being able to skirt issues of having to get permission and authorizations to air fights. I don't know.
Well, I'm concerned. I mean, I mentioned hockey for a reason. I'm concerned that this will, I'd like to read more about it. I don't know that necessarily I want to see the fight, but I'd like to know how it happened, because it could possibly necessitate a rule change that then makes it.
It looked like a totally routine fight from the video I saw of the fight. There was a knockdown. It was a 3-round fight. The video I saw was only the 3rd round. The guy Cavallo looked like he was fine when the round started. He gets staggers back, gets knocked down, and takes 6, 7, maybe 8, 9 shots to the head on the ground. But it wasn't. We definitely have seen worse reffing recently in the UFC.
Well, you know what? I hate to say it, because I know there's a family in great pain. But before I'm starting to send people, out to the woodshed, I'd like to see an autopsy done.
Yeah, we definitely need to know if this kid had pre-existing conditions.
Yep.
If there was something that they could have caught before the match. I mean, they've caught tons of fighters. In the UFC. What's the dude, Thiago Alves, that had a brain aneurysm they caught with a brain scan? He was able to get surgery and get it repaired and fight again, but they didn't let him fight while he had that aneurysm. So it's entirely possible that the kid had pre-existing conditions.
Yep.
And that helps the PR issue. So let's go to the next question, which actually, involves Dada and in wake of the death. Nate, you're Viacom. He said, "Make this match for me. But can you use it anymore? It's getting dark, too dark for some to see. Dada was knocking on heaven's door. But with AMC winning the ratings war with reanimated corpses, do you resurrect Dada 5000's MMA career for a Bellator zombie fight rematch, or do you fear The Walking Dead?
That might be your best question of all time, but yeah, now you got to get away from the Dada business. That was a mistake in the first place. I hope they learned their lesson from that. The guy was not healthy, was not fit, not in shape to fight. I mean, when you have to cut 40 pounds in the last few days to make the heavyweight limit at 265, and you're already middle-aged, and you're not a professional fighter, there were so many red flags before they booked that fight. They should never have done it in the first place. And if they're thinking about going back to the well again, they need to get their head examined. That would be completely...
Nah, there's one thing, Rich Chew and Scott Coker. All right, man. There's one thing that I've seen. They are nothing if not educable. I mean,
Yeah.
I had him on the show and complained bitterly about Daniel Puder, and I didn't see too much more of Daniel Puder after that. It's like, I didn't want to put a kibosh on the guy's career.
But you did anyway.
And I want to give him some space to train and get better, man. You can't be in the cage and be as good as me, or alternatively as bad as I am. So you're going to get hurt. It's for your own good. So please,
But here's the PR question, though. I mean, you see Stefan Struve with his heart issue, and then he went through all these tests, and you're kind of like watching this guy fight with bated breath and just concerned.
And then the first fight
And he
back, he
showed-
has a panic attack and can't make it into the cage.
Right. I mean, it was called a panic attack, right? But because he had his issue before, people like, is it really a panic attack? So my question is, from a PR perspective, since this is about PR, if you do have these athletic commissions, right, for the casual fan or for the casual observer of MMA, like, what role do they play, and how does that fit within your PR strategy? Either by saying, hey, look, this guy passes physicals, we handed it off to the athletic commission, or there's an extra level of scrutiny we engage in, or are there certain athletic commissions that you would have a kind of Dada or Stefan Struve fighting? What do you do?
I'm going to have to quote Travis Bickle on this, and or paraphrase when he's talking about the cops. Nah, cops don't do nothing. You know that. yeah,
Especially the Texas Board of Licensing. Those guys, they'll let a corpse slide into the cage and fight. I mean, you could have Weekend at Bernie's 5 cage fight edition. I think they would sign off on it. So, and with the UFC taking over the drug testing from the commissions for years, their whole argument was, hey, we're regulated by the government. We're regulated by the government. But then eventually they had to come out and say, well, the government's not enough, and we're going to have to bring in some experts, the USADA, which has been its own kettle of rotten fish. But, I don't think they can run under the government. I don't think anybody's buying the excuse that the commissions have this under control anymore, especially someplace like Ireland that does not have a tradition of MMA, does have a tradition of boxing, and I don't know enough about the regulation in Ireland really to be commenting further than that, but I don't think they're going to be able to hide behind the Irish Commission on this.
Hey, listen, let me tell you, give you a little bit of punk rock history. For consistently, my favorite member of Black Flag was Chuck Dukowski, the guy who I did that blackface project with. And Dukowski was one of my favorites because invariably, like, I'm talking about 8 Black Flag shows in a row, I'd be at the venue, I'd look around, and I'd go, who the fuck is that sleaze bag? And invariably it ended up being Chuck. I was like, oh, Chuck, I didn't recognize you. You could come in, there'd be 400 people there, and the sleaziest guy there would be Chuck. Somehow his fashion choices, something about him, just always set him aside. You can go to any fight venue, anywhere, and the commission guys, you can always tell who they are, and there's a reason for that. Sorry, commission guys, it's fucking true. Look at yourselves.
Yeah. Well, speaking of looking at yourself, Eugene, you're Frank Mir.
Yeah.
Tie me kangaroo down.
Captain Kangaroo?
Yeah, well, hey, see?
He's stepping on his lines.
I tried to stay true to the region in which things went down. But Captain Kangaroo, if this were to happen stateside, maybe I would have done this instead. So you have to bear with the localized analogy.
All right.
Tie me kangaroo down, sport, and shoot in the arse with steroids. You failed a drug test and blamed tainted kangaroo meat. Then you lost a broadcast opportunity at last weekend's UFC Fight Night in Zagreb. What PR moves can you make to ensure that you don't lose any others?
I envision Frank Mir as a walking, talking, four-dimensional human emoticon for this. like Frank Mir gives a fuck about anything at this point. This guy he's been on that Joe Lazon fucking surf for quite a while. $400,000 a fight for the last 6, 7 years. The guy's been making bank. If he's smart in Vegas, he's invested in stuff. You think he needs shit? He's been in sorry.
Movies, stage,
he's
and
been in
screen.
movies, commercials.
Birthday parties. What?
He's doing it all. Hey, everything. I'm sorry. Go answer because I got somebody at the hospital I got to pick up. So go ahead.
All right. So, Frank Mir, the kangaroo thing, terrible PR. Unless you can come up with a kangaroo steak, have it tested for steroids, prove it was the same kangaroo or a related kangaroo. What are you thinking? What are you doing? I mean, maybe he's honestly baffled. Maybe he hasn't been doing anything. But, I'm not one to give anybody the benefit of the doubt at this point on the steroid test if they're an MMA fighter. And so all he did was dig his hole deeper. He'd been blocked from the booth ever since he got carried away with his pre-fight talk against Brock Lesnar and, said things that basically sounded like he was threatening to kill Brock because he was threatening to kill Brock Lesnar. So they, pulled him from the WEC mic, which was too bad because he's an excellent commentator. But, the fact, I don't know whether he was truly on schedule to do the Zagreb show or not, but they're saying he was and he was pulled. I think he does care about the commentating gigs. I think he'd like to stay in the public eye. Well, he's good at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to underrate the care portion of that. I mean, the reality of it is, if you are making your life as a creative, and I'm going to expand that to fighters, like say sport creative, the issue really fundamentally becomes what do you do with the 16 hours that you're awake? You can't all fill it up with strip clubs. After a certain point, you got to do something. So as a way to, you're going to watch the fights, you're interested in the fights, it's a good gig, it pays well, it's sort of respectable, you can go home to Thanksgiving, your parents are proud, it's all right. Otherwise, you're just a guy who hangs around the gym. So I could see that it would attract him to a certain degree, but, fundamentally, if he's played his cards right, his worries are few. And it's not like $400,000, I hate to be the one to say this, but it's not like $400,000 a year is all that huge of an amount of money, even for 7 years in a row. But if you're like most fighters I know, there are very few guys I know who went crazy and started living large. A few, but some of them are still living sort of like they did in college. I think he'll be okay, and I think at a certain point it'll be forgotten. Is he fighting again anytime soon? Fuck no, but I don't think he cares about that.
Well, he's coming out and saying this is probably the end of his fighting career if he gets suspended. So
yeah, well, he was close to that anyway, right? I mean, did you see another 5 years come out of Frank Mir? Was there a wellspring of interest?
After that performance, I don't think anybody wanted to see him fight again anyhow.
It's getting to be that point where he's on the, was that movie from the fucking 70s, Other Side of the Mountain? Yeah, kind of shady on the other side of the mountain, man.
You gotta have the dated movie references. So.
Well, and I'm gonna have a dated music reference.
Well, I gotta throw a curveball. I don't have a sound effect. I gotta throw a curveball.
That's your curveball sound.
Yeah, Trump's kids. They didn't register to vote.
Visual. Do it again, man.
I folded it up already. Trump's kids didn't even bother to register to vote in time for the New York primary, which either says that these obstacles are so big even educated millionaires can't clear them to vote, or that Trump's family just doesn't have a tradition of civic participation and aren't taking this seriously. So what do you think? You're Trump's kids, Eugene. How do you handle this?
I mean, they have to double down to a certain regard. Now at this point, what they bought themselves are repeated public appearances at Dad's side, to say that this was actually a teenage oversight and not because I don't give a fuck. So I register so I don't have to do this. They screwed up. They have to do it. So now it's campaign stop after campaign stop for the next few news cycles until people forget about it. I mean, it was hey man, if you have kids, I go to my kids' school and I see stuff in the lost and found that blows my mind. It's like you went to school with shoes, and yet you have no shoes.
Right.
Where are your shoes? I'm sorry to go Bill Cosby on you. Where are your shoes? And take this pill. So, I mean, you came to school with a coat. Where is your expensive coat? Don't know. Okay, so, I mean, I think it's a kid thing. And it's, what I hate about this whole anti-Trump thing is that it's really the heavily muscled fucking machinery. Man, we're watching Tammany Hall do its thing, and the press is in on the kill tape, and everybody. Yes, his politics are fucking reprehensible, but in my mind, they represent the true face of that fucking party. Let the Trump man free. Let him be, let him do. This is your fucking party where they punch people in the face, they want to build walls, and they say, fuck you, routine. You know who was quiet during the Trump abortion kerfuffle? Ted Cruz was amazingly quiet. Amazingly quiet. And not a single media person turned around and said, hey, Ted, what do you think about this?
Well, he did comment on the abortion thing the first day and said we do not believe in punishing women for having abortions, which isn't true. They obviously, in state after state, are passing laws that do punish women for having abortions. But, I mean, there's a woman in Ohio
and it's also,
about to be 20 years.
If they're completely illegal, we have to presume honest members of the citizenry don't do illegal things. So, of course, we don't believe in punishing women for having abortions because they'll be completely illegal under my administration, and they won't be able to have them, so no need to punish them for things they don't have.
Well, there's that PR advice for Ted Cruz. I think for the kids, what they could do is spin that as, look, this is a reason why I'm in the race, because even young voters and potential young voters are so disaffected, so disgusted with the whole system that they're not registered. They don't have any reason to want to vote, and this is what inspired me to run for office. Because you see my kids are involved, right? They're not even registered to vote, but they're involved in the process now. So, I mean, I would try to take that and spin it as, and throw it back in the face and as an example, an excuse as to why politics as usual just is not inspiring anybody to do anything. No. But I'm gonna take the mic away from you, Nate, and throw it into Eugene's face. Eugene, you're Motley Crue frontman Vince Neil.
Oh, man.
TMZ released footage of Live Wire and actor Nick Cage restraining you with a hug and kiss lock after you took down a female autograph seeker by the hair. Police later cited you for battery. Is it time to kickstart some PR? Go away mad, or just go away?
Man, fucking Alexei, this guy deserves some award, man. He's pulling out the Motley Crue song references. That's fucking all right. That's good. That's good work. Look, this is the guy who, when they talked about the cat from Hanoi Rocks, who he killed in a drunk driving accident, said, hey, his career wasn't going too far anyway. That quoted, I mean, listen, 15 years earlier, this would have been a Friday night for those guys. Well, they don't get, those LA heavy metal guys traditionally living off vampires, living off of women, treating women like garbage, and having a whole line of women to treat like garbage. It's not surprising. What's surprising is that he hasn't adapted to the fact that everybody's got a cell phone, and you gotta trod lightly. I have a standing policy of knocking people out at our shows who fuck with me, right? So everybody's figured out, like, leave the bear alone. Don't fuck with the bear. Well, unfortunately, at some show, some woman starts harassing me, and I realize I'm in a tizzy, because under normal circumstances, if she was a man, I would slap the fuck out of him. I'm not going to do it with a whole room full of cell phones. I'm not going to be that guy, that slapping the woman in the face, even though she may have deserved it. So
maybe the hug and kiss lock.
Nah.
Get you slapped in the face at home.
No. In this instance, it was great. My woman let loose with, sucking his dick once doesn't make you a friend. Baboosh! And then it was. That's what we call it, baby. And so I turn around and shocked discover the woman on the floor. Look, this was an average Friday night. If you think that Vince Neil was not inebriated, and I'm not saying drunk, under the influence, you're fucking crazy. You know, it was just, man, come on, it's Motley Crue. He's shouting at the devil, man. I'm not. This is not. Yeah, this is not exculpatory, but this is like under things that should not surprise you.
The SOS, same old situation.
Yeah, yeah. The only thing surprising about it was that actually Nick Cage, who I thought was dead, was there and had the presence of mind to say, "Cut this shit out, man." You are the one who got him tanked up on those expensive drugs that made him slap autograph seekers, you know?
What do you think, Nate?
Well, we got to clarify the video doesn't show Vince Neil touching any women, so that's all alleged.
Photos.
Yeah, there's photos. It's alleged, but there are charges filed, so it quite possibly happened. It looks like Nick Cage was the crazy man in the video, but if you have the context of knowing that Neil had just allegedly grabbed a woman by the hair and threw her to the ground, putting him in the "I love you, man" submission made perfect sense and really was well played by Nick. I gotta hand it to him, the Con Air ace. But Vince, yeah, it's just another little chapter, another epilogue to the behind the scenes. You know what is it? It's not behind the scenes. The VH1 rock mockumentary.
Yeah, right. That's it. I think.
It's behind the music.
Behind the music, yeah.
And if you haven't seen the Motley Crue Behind the Music, it's a must see.
Also, their book, The Dirt. I don't know if you read The Dirt. The Dirt is great.
And Nick Dix's auto bio too.
Well,
go ahead.
What I'm more appalled by, and this is something that I realize every time Madonna makes a headline, I'm appalled by the fact that the same disease, the toilet flush disease that thankfully has rid us of Debbie Gibson, Tiffany, you know, who's that woman that we just, Taylor Dane.
Oh, come on, man.
You know,
I saw that video. I couldn't get it out of my head.
There's self-correcting problems that it hasn't claimed, like, the people who skate through
well, you gotta, at this point, I think you gotta admit, Motley Crue are Hall of Famers, man. I hated them all through high school, but finally in college, I had to admit, okay, they got a pretty kicking bass and drum sound for a metal band, and then, you know, as I got sick of the Smiths and NXS, I was like, you know, the Crue isn't so bad. Yeah. And then you see the behind the music, you read the bio. These guys are rock and roll. I mean, these guys are
I made the public claim, that they were a fundamentally more honest band than Fugazi, you know? Because I don't know anything about Fugazi from listening to their music. I have a vague sense of their ideas. But, you know, Motley Crue, in the tradition of the old blues guys, they are as honest could be. That's their, you may not like the worldview or be interested in it or think it's fucking retrograde, but that's their fucking reality, you know? So in that instance, I'm just concerned about the fact that there's this classification of person, certain celebrity that never fucking goes away. If you had asked me in 1983 if I'd still be dealing with Madonna in 2016, I would have laughed. You asked me, am I gonna? The guys in Big Country are shocked that we still have to deal with U2, you know? Come on.
Big Country they built their whole thing on ripping off U2. I once wrote a review of Madonna's first album and Cyndi Lauper's big hit album in my high school paper, and I loved the Cyndi Lauper album. And the Madonna album, I was like, there's 2 songs on here that are okay, tops. Yep. We won't be hearing from Madonna again, but Cyndi Lauper is the real deal. What I didn't realize was Cyndi Lauper was in her mid-30s. She had shot her whole wad on that album, had no more songs left in reserve, and Madonna was just starting out. And you know, she's definitely way past her sell-by date, but you got to hand it to Madonna. She had a solid 15 years.
What do you mean had? She won't go away.
Well, she's stuck for a long time, but so was Aerosmith. I mean,
they're another one. Remember that Saturday Night Live skit with John Belushi, The Thing That Wouldn't Leave? And they're having a dinner party, and the dinner party is over. He's like, "What's on the TV? Oh, you got some more of those hors d'oeuvres?" You know, I mean, fuck, man.
That's awful. But certain people earn that status, and you know, that's just, you know, it's Frank's planet. We just live on it.
And he also had a good line in that documentary I'll never forget when the sex tape popped out, and he's like, "Look, at the end of the day, this is part of the business, okay? If you don't want people nosing on your business and caring about who you're fucking, be a plumber or some other job that nobody gives a shit about.
What was that great thing that Reinhard Heydrich, famous Nazi, had said that I like? He goes, "Nobody gets out of our kettle," you know. And I wish that same kettle would claim celebrities, you know, that I wouldn't have to be thinking 30 years later about Madonna as she kisses Drake on stage to see Daring. Jesus Christ, stop it! Get the fuck out of here.
She does need to cut it out. She needs to cut it out. Agreed.
Well, speaking about cutting stuff
And
out.
Vince Neil, I mean, the point being, Vince Neil needs to get the fuck on. I don't need to be reading about Vince Neil. They retired 2 years ago. Go away.
All right. So, Nate, it's our teachable moment of the week. You're Donald Trump. Political claims that 90% of its panel of party insiders in 10 key battleground states claim neither you nor Ted Cruz will win the nomination on the first ballot in Cleveland. As a party outsider, what PR moves do you make to ensure that the will of your people will not be usurped by party insiders?
Well, Trump's playing a dangerous game, but I think he's playing the only card he thinks he has, which may or may not be a terrible, terrible, reprehensible moral mistake and a disaster, but he's playing the mob violence card. I mean, he's coming out and saying, hey, we're going to throw down at the convention. They're trying to steal the convention from us. Roger Stone, his sometimes advisor, is talking about leaking the hotel rooms and phone numbers of superdelegates. These guys, I mean, Trump plays hardball. He's coming up against some guys who play some real hardball, though. The Bush family dynasty is out there. You know, the people that put together Jeb 2016 are talking about
Battle of the Bullies.
They're talking about drafting generals. They've got the infrastructure all in place to, if they can just get a general. They don't even care if the general consents. They're going to non-consensually drag one of these generals into the campaign. It's a gut check time for these guys in GOP establishment. These are big money power brokers, the Koch brothers and others. They crush people all day, every day. That's what they do. And are they going to have the balls and the will and the grit to try to overturn the popular vote? Because it'll break their party. I think these people are very insulated from reality. They're utterly insulated from the public opinion. And they've got no electoral constituency left. We saw this as you know, Bush fell and little Marco fell and all their cats, Scott Walker. They don't have anybody. They're talking about bringing in Ryan. Ryan's not coming into this mess. He's waiting until 2020. They're going to drag some general into this. They're hoping to run a general as a third-party candidate, keep anybody from getting 270 votes, and then count on the Republican House of Representatives to impose a president who wasn't elected by the people. If they think Americans are going to sit still for that shit, they got another thing coming. I think a lot of people are about to learn that white America is the best armed populace in the world for a reason. White America is fucking dangerous and scary and crazy. And if you think you're just going to take their votes away from them, they're not going to sit still. This isn't Black Lives Matter you're jacking with. This is fucking middle America, the silent majority. These people are packing, and they're going to come for heads.
And then not only that, let me tell you fucking something. Not only that, but Donald Trump is no Al Gore. You're banging on the doors, Al. Okay, I'll go home.
Right.
Yeah.
What about a recount, Al? No, it's okay. I got money at home.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, for all the people that blame Ralph Nader, how about blaming Al Gore for conceding 3 times on election night? How about blaming Al Gore for picking Joseph Lieberman because he shed on Clinton and then saying nothing when Lieberman actively basically campaigns for the Bush position during the recount, or for hiring Warren Christopher to go up against James Baker? I mean, Warren Christopher, the guy who, while he was Secretary of State, every time they shut down an embassy, people would say, this wouldn't happen if Warren Christopher was alive. The joke was Warren Christopher was alive. He was a living dead. And you get a corpse to represent you against James Baker? James Baker's a stone fucking killer.
Yep.
And, you know, I mean, and Al Sharpton and Bill Clinton had union goons and big black dudes ready to crack heads when Tom DeLay sent his staffers down in Miami-Dade County to recount, you know, to disrupt the recount. And Gore pulled him off. Oh, we're not going to have any of that. No, nobody's going to get their hands dirty here. Fuck some Al Gore. That's what I'm saying.
Well, you know what's funny about that is, I recall before that happened, you'd hear all of these people talk about, oh, the revolution, the revolution, the revolution, the revolution, the revolution. Revolution comes, revolution, revolution. And so to actually witness, right, a tainted election, you actually witness this. You're seeing a disruption of the process. You're seeing a hijacking of the electoral process. You're seeing you're just totally seeing what you see in quote unquote third world countries, right?
Yeah.
And what happened?
Nothing.
Nothing. People went back to work. They did whatever they had to do. And at that moment, I was like, you know what?
African Americans hit
Fucking
the street.
revolution is not coming.
No.
But what you're saying with regard to Trump and those supporters,
Now
those are the motherfuckers.
That's
that
a
are like, hey,
demographic
look, you
that's
know
been
what?
prepared for revolution for a long time. These are guys that overwhelmingly have military and police experience, that have relatives and friends
And
in the
police and military support too.
Yes, exactly.
That's the
If you've
difference.
ever seen a riot where the police put down their shields and cross over, that's what happened to Milosevic in Serbia. Was that the CIA color revolution worked and infiltrated the barracks, and one day Slobodan called out the tanks. The tanks didn't come, and I think that if
Emperor Jones, baby.
Yep. If the GOP wants to try it, I think they're messing with the wrong set of people. I mean, I'm not saying that Trump and his ragtag followers would win, but it will be an ugly shit show, and it'll break the GOP and our political.
I'm gonna have to go. These ragtag band of Montagnards who follow any order, no matter how insane. The description of Colonel Kurtz apropos here, but I'm not so interested in that as I am in the campaign, the stuttering, muttering campaign of Hillary. Unforced error number 3000.
Lost Battalion. We got to intro the Lost
Battalion.
Battalion.
Here you go. Some music. Come on.
All right, go ahead.
You got some music or what?
Hey!
You
said stuttering and muttering, and it kind of, you did a little disruption there. Go on ahead.
The stuttering, muttering, the prick campaign of Hillary Clinton. Man, there's so many fucking unforced errors that I can't believe it's fucking accidental. I cannot believe it's accidental. I cannot believe it is accidental. You're going to stand on stage with Bill de Blasio, who's got some fucking cover, even though he's universally hated by 65,000 cops in New York City. You got some cover because de Blasio is a race mixer, and you think you're going to get on stage.
White children are black, but that didn't help old Dulzia or whatever her name was in Spokane.
Hey, it didn't help Ted Danson either when he decided to go full blackface dating Whoopi Goldberg.
That's what de Blasio did. He went full black. He went full Ted Danson, and he did not.
Oh, I didn't color people time. I didn't say CP. I meant concerned politician time.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding? Are you fucking kidding? Right on the heels of Bill's attempting to resurrect a sister soldier moment where Black Lives Matter, making good points, incidentally.
But if you're explaining, you're losing.
Yeah. So good points, bad time. I mean, I can't. Could you have run? What is that line? That Dead Kennedy's line? How reckless can you get? How reckless can you get?
But you know what I think is, at the end of the day, I don't think a lot of those folks that are offended are going to be going for Bernie. I think it's going to make excuses. Oh well,
if it keeps
Clinton is in deep with a lot of individuals and brokers in when you call it community, that so-called community, and people that are on the payroll, individuals that have a vested interest in the Clintons.
No, I mean, look, I'm concerned. I'm concerned about macro issues, man. I'm concerned about another 4 years of unforced error after unforced error.
Okay, right.
Fucking shit. Get about the business of the people, Hey, the Benghazi email thing, I fucked up, whatever. I said emails from my phone. Now, who doesn't do the same? Let's move on. And said, I didn't do anything. Well, maybe I did something. I don't know. The Vince Foster fucking, militating over micro points.
Right.
God damn these. I could drunk run a better campaign. Drunk run a better campaign.
That is a challenge.
Yeah. you know it to be true. You know it to be true.
I know some campaigns have been run coked out of their minds. I haven't seen them been run drunk. So, it's...
Yeah. No, you can. Well, they always used to describe W as a dry drunk. You can imagine, that. But I'm gonna have to say, man, that she's in the fucking mist, and I don't give a shit, as evidenced by my sidestepping, my broken field running over the Lost Battalion and JDS's continued place in it. That she might end up being President of the United States of America, but she is gone. you know.
Yeah, we're looking at. I think we're looking at Hillary winning because the GOP is completely melting down on the other side. Bernie never had a chance. Didn't think he had a chance. I think if Bernie had realized he had a chance a year ago, it'd be a very different situation. He didn't realize he had a chance until like January or February, and by that time it was too late. I think Hillary's going to stumble in, and if we get the kind of administration I'm expecting from Clinton, she's going to do for the Democratic Party what W. Bush did for the GOP, and at that point, all bets are off. Both parties are completely discredited, and welcome to the Terror Dome, America.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Is there anyone else in the Lost Battalion, or is that the
JDS is there, but you know, there's some people who don't. I mean, do we gain anything? Am I a bigger man? Am I? If I say that Gonzaga is there, no.
Right.
I mean,
Gonzaga's dark-starred, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's 12 and 10. Hey, come on.
He's
you know, I mean, so there's some guys. What do they say? Do not go gently into this good night. There you go. He went gently. Or maybe not so gently at the hands of the black beast or whatever.
I gotta disagree about Dos Santos, but it's not enough to make a fight. I think he's got a title on left in him.
You know, you can disagree for exactly probably 3 months and 8 days until such time as he fights
when
again.
Dos Santos puts on that UFC title belt again, Eugene, we'll revisit this.
Man, because you see, it was like a gut shot where he was like, he could have just been like, you know, he could have been like, man, I'm fucking glad I won. Stick it in Eugene's eye. Fuck it, I'm no longer. And then he says he goes 100-foot cliff dive in the total fucking Lost Battalionage. He's like, and when I'm standing there with a championship belt, and then cue clown music. Wah, wah, wah. You're never going to be standing there. No, there's a way. There's a way.
Show the audience the headset I bought you, because you're going to have that working, and on the show, I think around the time JDS puts on the UFC title belt again. I just want people to see I've bought him a better headset.
Instead of the belt sign, the headset sign, baby. Welcome.
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking
to the headset world.
It doesn't fucking work, but whatever. I got you.
Imagine how good that's going to sound, fans. So
And how good it's going to look.
I'm just going to wear it. I'm just going to
wear it.
Yeah. He's like,
Yeah.
Like, how does Eugene answer the questions and listen to music and dance at the same? Oh my gosh!
Or forget about that. How about streaming porn while I'm doing the show and listening to music and answering the questions?
Streaming is probably the reason for the signal interruptions. We've gotten a clue.
Eureka, we found it.
Hey, I'm doing porn
You need to
reviews.
download your porn, have it on your hard drive, then you can watch it all you want. Quit streaming during
I
the
used
show.
to be.
My friends, is one to grow on.
I used to be the VP of marketing of a company called Skin Crawler, whose business model was based on you setting preferences. You set it, you go to sleep, and you say, I like fat Asian women, and it crawls the web while you sleep, and when you wake up in the morning, in a discrete folder on your desktop that says financials would be all of the fat Asian porn you could get your hands on. It was a great business model done in by the fact that the CFO was the son of a famous LA Hollywood guy who had died. He'd been fighting with his stepmom over the estate. He won the battle, inherited like $20 million. He showed up at my house in a red convertible. You want to Donna Shalala me now, or?
You can go. You can finish the show.
He showed up at my house in a red convertible with a prostitute next to him and covered in vomit. And he's like, I'd have come in to give you your business cards, but I've had kind of a rough few days. And he gave me the business cards, and I was like, hey, man, why don't you get your stuff cleaned up? And the hooker is like, clean up, baby. And he pulls off into the sunset, never to be seen again, and the company went belly up.
Oh, well.
Well, unlike him, although we will be going out into the sunset, you will see us again next week. Thank you for joining us. Follow us on Twitter at Eugene S. Robinson, at Kid Nate, at Alexi Old. Please give us a thumbs up. Eugene.
This is my 3D version.
Ooh.
It feels like it's coming right at you.
Look at my house.
Oh, look at it.
And leave comments on YouTube. Subscribe on MMANation.com on YouTube and MMA Nation iTunes. Visit Bloody Elbow. Read Eugene at Ozzy.com. And be sure to check us out, all three of us, actually, on Amazon.com.
See, Eric Buck, I did it for you. I didn't interrupt, my man. I can do it. I can do it.
Instead of interrupting at the beginning, it's going to be at the end,
I
baby.
just interrupt at the end, or it doesn't make a difference.
We'll be back next week with another installment, If I Did It. And we don't know what we're going to be discussing because the PR mistakes have yet to be made.
There you go.